Okay, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and with pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. So, as you know, Jagannath Rath Yatra is coming up, and we are preparing our consciousness and mood so we can serve Lord Jagannath with the proper understanding. Um, I don't know about everybody else, but at least for me, it was very hard to understand Lord Jagannath and what is his mood, what is his incarnation about, his avatar about. Like we've always heard stories of Lord Ram and Narsingh, Bhagwan and Krishna. So I could always relate to them. But it was very difficult to understand the how of Jagannath ji and how he has so many pure devotees and he exchanges relationships with them. What is their relationship about? So that was the intention of this series, that we understand how Lord Jagannath ji appeared, who was responsible for him coming like this in Kali Yuga to Jagannath Puri, and what is his mood, what kind of relationships he exchanges with devotees, and who is he? Is he Krishna or who is he? So I hope that everybody was able to catch up on the last two or three uh, classes that we did and understand that Jagannath ji is none other than Krishna himself in a mood of separation from Vrindavan and Radharani. He is Dwarkadhish who is in separation in Vipralamba Bhav. Vipralamba Bhav is one of the highest bhavs. It is even considered higher than the Madhurya Bhav. And he is in that Vipralamba Bhav from Vrindavan and from Brajvasis, from Radharani, from Gopis, from Gopas, from Yashoda Maya, from everybody. That is Lord Jagannath. And when the devotees are taking his Rath to Gundicha temple, they are actually taking Dwarkadhish to Vrindavan. They are taking the Krishna in Dwarka to meet with the devotees in Vrindavan. And we are not sitting in Jagannath Puri, right? We are trying to do Rath Yatra here. We are trying to, every day we are actually inviting Krishna into our heart, and we are trying to purify our heart and make it like Vrindavan, right? That is the whole purpose of chanting and reading and association of devotees, that we purify our heart. We do Vaishnav Seva. The only reason is so that we can invite Krishna inside our heart, right? So that all the anarthas can go away and only the good qualities that Krishna likes would come in. That is our intention of doing all the things that we do. So every day is actually like a Rath Yatra for the devotees of the Lord, where they are dragging Krishna into their hearts. So I hope that everybody has understood now the mood of Jagannath ji from the previous series. And today, in that continuing that same mood, we will understand his pastimes that he has exchanged with his devotees. So I'll start with one beautiful story, and then we'll continue more. If everybody is able to listen and pay attention, then we'll continue more. So this story is, I'll start with a very short story first, because long story may be difficult to hold attention. We'll start with a short story. It is actually a very popular story. And this devotee that he exchanged relationship with, this devotee is called Landini Mataji, Landini Mata. She was a very old devotee who lived in Jagannath Puri, and she used to think of Lord Jagannath as her son. So she was serving Jagannath ji in Vatsalya Bhav. And you've heard the glories of the Prasadam in Jagannath Puri, right? How Jagannath ji gave this benediction to Indradyumna Maharaj that I will keep eating the whole day. I will accept bhoga one after another. I'll accept bhogas. And as soon as my hands are washed, I will accept the next bhoga, next prasad. In this way, the prasad will be freely available in Jagannath Puri. So the prasad has a very big spiritual potency in Jagannath Puri, just like Mother Ganga has in Banaras, right? Similarly, prasad has a very big spiritual potency in Jagannath Puri. So Jagannath ji gets so much prasad, so much bhoga, the whole day people bring him so many dishes, sweet dishes, spicy dishes, salty dishes, very, very elaborately cooked, fried things, many, many things he gets the whole day. Now Landini Mataji, who's looking at Lord as her son, she would think, Oh, my poor child, he has to eat so much the whole day. What if his stomach gets upset? What if he if his tummy start hurting? He will get belly ache. That's how she would worry. इतना क्यों खा रहा है मेरा बेटा? He keeps eating. These people don't have any daya on him. They just keep feeding him the whole day. So I should do something about it. So this Landini Mataji, what she did was she would make neem paste, like neem ki loi, every day, and she would take it to Jagannath ji so that after eating the whole day, all this bhoga that he gets, he will eat some of that neem paste and his stomach will be fine, right? He will not have any digestive problems. In this way, she would give the neem paste every day. Now, one day when she went to the temple, the guards did not let her enter. They said, "Oh, show us what you are taking, huh? Our king is coming today, so we are not allowed." And she was very poor, lived in a hut, not very poorly dressed, like right, poor dhoti and all, not very clean. So they did not really want her around because the king was coming, and they were trying to clean up the whole temple and make it look very beautiful for the king. So they said, we don't have time today to entertain all the devotees. So what are you bringing? If it is something very important, then we can take it to Jagannath ji. Otherwise, you go away. She said, oh, this is for my son. My son, he eats all day. I want him to give, he takes neem paste from me every day. This is for him. She showed them. And they threw it away. They said, no, what are you doing? You're taking it for the Lord. First of all, he's not your son. Huh? This is the Lord of the whole world. This is the Father of the whole world. This is Jagannath, Jagat ke Nath. You're calling him your son. And secondly, you are giving him this bitter kadwa karele ka neem ka paste. This is not right. He is very used to eating opulent foods. This is not something he's going to accept. So they threw it away and they pushed her away. Don't come back. Go away. So she was very upset. She was, but anyway, she was just a poor old lady. She had no power over these guards. So she went away to her hut and she was crying. She was mostly worried about Jagannath, that, oh, my poor son, he did not get my neem paste. His tummy will be hurting. These people don't understand. Every day I give him this and he's used to my neem loi. Now today his stomach will be hurting. She was feeling very bad. She was so worried about his digestion. And Lord is attracted, right, when we are meditating on him. This was her way of meditating on the Lord, so that she's worried about him. She was anxious about him. We are fearful about ourselves. She was fearful about the Lord. She was not worried about herself, right? There is no false ego here at all. She's just worried, spiritually anxious about the Lord. Transcendental fear. So Lord was very attracted to this. And Jagannath ji is so merciful. He came. He came running to the hut and he gave her darshan in her little cottage. And he started chastising her. He said, Mother, what is this? You did not come today. You don't love me anymore. You did not bring me my neem paste today. Look how I look. And he was looking actually very sad. His face was looking, drawn and sullen, like luster has gone. There is no glow in the face. He was looking as if he's sick. He said, look, I got so sick. My tummy is hurting. These people were feeding me all kind of things whole day. I had to eat it all. And you did not bring me my digestive neem paste. You don't love me anymore. Why didn't you come today? So in this way, he's chastising, in Vatsalya Bhav to his mother. He was acting just like little Gopal would act with Nand Maiya, with Yashoda Maiya and Nand Maharaj, right? That's how he's acting with Landini Mataji. So, so he said, look, I'm so distended, I'm hurting. And he was so upset. And he said, okay, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. And he disappeared. So in this way, he had this beautiful exchange with Landini Mataji. And Landini Mataji is so mesmerized just looking at her and looking at him, her son. This is her son that she's looking at, that she takes care of every day. She was even more upset that these bad guards, they did not let me take neem paste to my son and now he's sick. So anyways, Jagannath ji, after he disappeared from there, he paid a visit to the king of the Jagannath Puri. King of the Jagannath Puri. He came in his dream. And in the dream, he chastised the king. Pehle he chastised the mother, but in a completely different mood. In a mood of a son complaining to her mother. And now he chastised to the king as a master chastising his servant. right? So imagine completely different turn of mood, how Lord exchanges relationship with different devotees in different moods, right? So now he's chastising because king of Jagannath Puri worships Lord Jagannath in Aishwarya Bhav, right? ये हमारे भगवान हैं, ये हमारे master हैं, like that he's worshipping. So he's chastising him like his own servant. So he's saying, how come your guards turned away my poor mother from the door? She was bringing me some prasadam, some bhoga that the guards threw on the floor, and now I did not get to meet her, and she's upset. So in the morning, make sure you go to her hut and bring her with her neem paste to see me. And every day I must get that neem paste made by her. Make sure. So the king was very bewildered when he woke up. What was this, a dream? And he found out that there is really a Landini Mataji who does this seva every day for the Lord. So he took some of his soldiers and went to the hut. And when he went to the hut, the mother Landini was upset and crying. And he told the mother that, you know, Lord Jagannath has instructed us that he accepts you as her mother, as his mother, and you must bring neem paste for him every day. This is how he feels good at the end of every day when he accepts your neem paste, and he must get your darshan. So please come with us. And not only this, I promise you, the king said, that this will be now from now on a tradition that Lord Jagannath ji will get neem paste every day, not only during your lifetime but beyond that. Every day he will get this service will be performed for him so that he never misses you, so that he always you will personally make this neem paste for him in your lifetime. So in this way, this became a tradition that actually even till now, Jagannath ji gets the neem paste, the neem loi made by the devotees in memory of Landini Mataji, who used to lovingly serve him like a mother. And this was a small exchange that Jagannath ji had with his devotee in such a beautiful way. So that was a short story about Landini Mataji. So let's see if anybody was hearing. What mood was Mataji in? This mother who's bringing. Okay, Avni is ready to answer.
Vatsalya.
Vatsalya Bhav, yes. Let's see if anybody. What would she take to Jagannath ji every day? So,
Neem paste.
okay, let somebody else answer. Let's hear from either Vedahi or Raina. Why does she take neem paste for him every day?
Say it again.
His digestive system.
Wow, you guys are Hari Bol. I had no faith. I had no faith that the kids could do two things at the same time. Hari Hari Bol.
Haribo.
Okay, let's see if I can ask any other question. Okay, that's good. So, so then if you're able to hear, then let's do a little bit of a longer story. There are many stories, and I can share some links for you, and we can keep hearing a story every day till the Rath Yatra. There are so many exchanges Lord has had with his devotees, but this is just to give you a taste, just to give you ruchi for hearing on your own more. So I'll just share another story, and this is the story of a devotee called Jagdish Pandit. Okay. So this story is about 500 years back in the time of Mahaprabhu. Jagdish Pandit was actually friends with the parents of Mahaprabhu. So with Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Mata, Mother Shachi, Jagdish Pandit was friends. They were neighbors. They used to live close by. And even as a child, Mahaprabhu had very close relationship with Jagdish Pandit. Whenever Jagdish Pandit, so there was one incident where Jagdish Pandit was offering bhoga to Jagannath ji in his house, and Mahaprabhu realized that sitting in his own home, he realized that he's offering bhoga in his home, and he told his father, Jagdish Pandit has offered rice and whatever to Jagannath ji, and this is meant for me. I want to go there and eat. And his father was so surprised. How does my little child sitting in his home know what Jagdish Pandit has cooked in the other house and that he's offering it to Jagannath ji and that it is meant for him? So in this way, Mahaprabhu has also shown many beautiful, charming pastimes, loving exchanges. But anyways, he went running to Jagdish Pandit's house. Give me the bhoga that you are offering to Jagannath ji. So Jagdish Pandit was a great devotee of Jagannath Ji. And this Jagdish Pandit, he would go every year. So those of you know, every year there is a time called Chaturmas, right? Before Kartik, there is a time of 4 months, right? Chaturmas, the time of rainy season, right? When there is a lot of rains, and it is actually considered by the Karm Kand. In the Karm Kand tradition, it is considered inauspicious time, and so any pujas and yagyas ceremonies are not conducted during this time because Lord Vishnu is sleeping. He is in his nidra at this time. He goes to sleep, and he sleeps till Utthan Ekadashi. At Utthan Ekadashi, he wakes up, right? So from Dev Shayani Ekadashi to Utthan Ekadashi. Dev Shayani means when Lord goes to Shayan, goes to sleep. To Utthan, Utthan means when he wakes up, जब वो उठ जाते हैं. Dev Shayani से Utthan Ekadashi तक, that time is Chaturmas. These Chaturmas is considered typically inauspicious, but in Bhakti tradition, we are not following Karm Kanda tradition, we are following Bhakti tradition. So in Bhakti tradition, this time is actually devotees do a lot of visits to pilgrimages, they keep certain types of fasting, they follow certain type of rules and regulations and do extra chanting and reading and hearing. So in this time, Jagdish Pandit in Chaturmas would go every year to Jagannath Puri and join in the Rath Yatra and all the festivities before and after, right? Like Snan Yatra, then Lord has the pastime of falling sick, and then Rath Yatra happens, and then 8 days how the Rath goes to Gundicha temple and comes back. All these pastimes he would exchange there, he would enjoy there. So, this is how the routine used to be for devotees actually. For 8 months, they would work hard, and those 4 months, they will just be on pilgrimage, especially to Jagannath Puri, and participate in the Rath Yatra. So, Jagdish Pandit also used to do that. As you know, there is a time when the deities of Jagannath Puri are given samadhi and new deities are carved, right? We discussed about this very briefly in one of the sessions, and that is called Nav Kalebram. Nav Kalebram means new body, meaning when the old deities are given samadhi and the new deities are carved from a particular log of wood which has certain markings and grows in a certain position and all. When they find that right, Daru Brahman deities are carved, right? The older deities are then given samadhi. So once upon a time, Jagdish Pandit went to Jagannath Puri in Chaturmas, and the Rath Yatra here and everything he attended, and then he came back to Navadvip. This was the time of Nav Kalebram, when the old deities were gonna be buried. Now he was very attached to these deities of Jagannath Ji. So he was very upset that these deities will be now given samadhi and the new deities will be installed. So he was feeling separation from those deities, and he was so upset that he would cry, he will not be able to sleep, he will not be able to focus on his work, nothing. And he would just worship to the Jagannath deities that he remembered and loved so much. So one day he did fall asleep by the mercy of Jagannath Ji. Jagannath Ji gave him that sleep, and he came in his dream, and he said, "Why are you so worried about this? Don't worry. When I'm there, you don't have to worry about anything. Why don't you just bring me to Navadvip? I won't take samadhi. You bring me to Navadvip and you worship me. I will be yours. You just bring me here." So he woke up and he said, "Oh wow, can I do that? Can I just bring the deities? Why would the Jagannath Puri people give me the deities? This is their tradition to give them samadhi." But Jagannath Ji had also told the king of Jagannath Puri that a devotee called Jagdish Pandit will come from Navadvip to take me to Navadvip. He is very attached to me. Let him serve me now, and you install the new deities. So king had arranged that when the devotee comes, we will give him the deities. This was a very, very big deal, you know. Jagannath Puri is very, very strict with their standards and the traditions that they follow. But they made this exception because Jagannath Ji himself requested the king. So he came, Jagdish Pandit came to take the deities. Now, you think, okay, chalo, deities pakro, chalo. But it is not easy to take Jagannath Ji. Jagannath Ji is huge. He is very, very heavy. He is big. even to put him on the cart, so many strong, like they are very big, bilkul strong, muscular people that put him on the cart. They are Daitapatis, right? The descendants of Vishwavasu that put him on the cart. And it takes 10 of them to put one Jagannath Ji, and they have to pull with very, very strong ropes to put him on the cart. And then they have to put cushions down so that he falls on the cushion, right? In so many ways, he has to be dragged onto the cart, onto the chariot. So how will this little frail old man, Jagdish Pandit, take these three deities of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra all the way back to Navdvip? So this was a very big problem. So Jagdish Pandit asked Jagannath Ji, you wanted me to take you, but I don't know how to take you. There is no way possible. You are so heavy. So Jagannath Ji said again, why are you worried? You're always worried. Huh? First you were worried about separation from me, and I told you the path. Now you're again worried. Listen, I will become light for you. I can become as small as an atom, and I can become as big as the all cosmic manifestation. Remember Vaman Dev, how small he was and then how big he became? And then similarly, I can be very big and become very small. I am smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. I can be inside and outside at the same time. I can be near and far at the same time. So just because I am heavy right now doesn't mean I have to stay heavy. I'll become light for you. Just take a stick and tie a rope to the stick and tie one end to me and put the stick on your shoulder. You know how people used to carry like a potli on a stick like this. So like this, you put me in a potli. I'll fit in a potli, and you carry on your shoulder, and I'll be very light. You will see. It'll be very easy to take me. This way you can take me. You can walk all the way back to Navdvip. Don't worry, I'm with you. So Jagdish Pandit said, okay, we will do that. So they put him in a potli and put a stick on his shoulder, and he was able to carry him. To his amazement, to everybody's amazement, all the pandas, all the Itapatis, everybody was bewildered. What? He gives us so much trouble when we have to put him on the chariot, and now for this devotee has become so light. He can carry him all the way to Navdvip. So, but Jagannath Ji said, I have one condition. I have one condition. I'll let you carry me, okay, and I'll be very light, but you cannot put me down. You have to go all the way to Navdvip, and then you can, wherever my final destination is, there you put me down. If you put me down, then I will not move from that place. I'll become heavy again. So this was his condition. Does any of the devotees remember a similar condition that was imposed in two or three other pastimes where Lord said, don't put me down or I will not move from there?
Yeah.
Yes, Vedi.
I remember reading this in the book, but Lord Shiv, I think it was Ravan. He wanted to take Lord Shivji to Lanka with him, and then Shivji's like, "Okay, I'll go, but put me down." But then he got very tired, and he put him down. And then I forgot what happened after that, but then I know he couldn't pick him back up.
Yeah.
Okay, I was not aware of that pastime. Thanks, Vedi. Yes, Sheetal Mataji is also sharing. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, what comes to my mind is the pastime of Vitthal Rakhmai.
Yes.
Yes, Vitthal, yeah, he was, I think, placed on the bricks and asked to wait there.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
That's yes. So he always has that brick under his foot, right?
Foot, yes. Yeah, he doesn't move from there.
Yes, Mataji, that's right. The one that I was thinking about is Govardhan. When Pulastya Rishi was bringing Govardhan, Govardhan had this condition that don't put me down anywhere. So Pulastya Rishi used to live in Varanasi, huh? Next to Ganga, but he did not have any hills there or caves to live in. So he wanted to live next to a hill or in a hill. So he came to Govardhan and wanted to take him, but Govardhan said, "Don't put me down." But you know, Pulastya Rishi had nature's call to attend, and so put him down in Vrindavan. And then Govardhan did not move from there, stayed in Vrindavan since then. Another pastime that I have heard about is Ranganath Swami. So if you know Lord Ramchandra and his forefathers, Ikshwaku and forefathers used to worship Rangnath Swami, right? Rangnath Swami deities they had. So those deities were given by Lord Ram to Vibhishan. And Rangnath Swami told Vibhishan that don't put me down. But when Vibhishan was going from, I don't know, he was going towards Lanka. He was going to take the Rangnath deities to Lanka. But when he was going through that Sri Rangam Kshetra, he had to put him down, and then deities never moved from there. So the deities now got situated in the Rang Kshetram. But they promised to Vibhishan that we will face towards Lanka, so at least you get some benediction. So they were facing towards Lanka, but so that Lanka could have darshan of Rangnathji, but they could not go all the way to Lanka. So that was another pastime in a similar way. But also in this one, the Jagannathji told Jagdish Pandit, don't put me down and carry me in your potli on your shoulder, and I will go wherever you want. So in this way, Jagdish Pandit kept going. Now, a similar situation happened. He had to attend nature's call. But Jagdish Pandit, he was familiar with all these examples from the scriptures. So he knew that I cannot put him down. What should I do? So he used a trick. He found two Brahmins there and he said, can you please hold? He did not put them down. He said, can you hold this potli for me? And I will be back in a few minutes. So the two Brahmins were holding the potli. But when he went away, Jagdish Pandit, the potli became very, very hard to lift. The Jagannathji became very heavy. And Brahmins were like, what is this going on? This is so heavy, we cannot lift it. There was no way. So they had to put him down. So when Jagdish Pandit came, he said, why did you put him down? He said, Jagdish Pandit, the deity became very, very heavy. There was no way we could lift him. So, we are so small, he became very heavy, we had to put him down. So, in this way, Jagdish Pandit started laughing. He understood that this was just the, sweet will of the Lord. Lord is independent. He is, Swatantra Ishwar, he is Swarat. This is where he wants to stay. So, this is where he has decided to stay now. And this place, they decided to build a temple for him. This place is called Chakrada. So, Chakrada meaning, Chakra means a wheel of the chariot, and da means buried. This is the place where, if you know King Bhagirathi, the one who brought Ganga down, his chariot's wheel got stuck in this place, and that is why this place is known as Chakrada. When he was bringing Ganga with him, the wheel got stuck here. That is why this place is called Chakrada. And this place, Jagannath Ji, who has left Jagannath Puri, decided to stay, and Jagdish Pandit started serving him there only. So they made temple for him and they started serving him there. So this place is now known as Chakda, because Chakrada became, over the time names changed. So the name changed to become Chakda. Chakrada se Chakda ban gaya. So initially this temple actually grew a lot. There were a lot of donations coming. People would come and gift various things, money, things for the deity and temple, land, food, whatnot, right? For the devotees, cows. But with time, eventually, as it happens in Kali Yuga especially, that the proper worship got lost. Slowly, the worship kind of declined. People start slacking off in their seva. So in this way, this seva also got slackened off. And this land, whoever came to inherit eventually, they decided to sell this land for money. Okay, and this property came into the hands of one of the god brothers of our beloved Srila Prabhupada. So god brothers means he's also the disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, right? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj is our Prabhupada's guru, right? So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj's another disciple came to inherit this land because he saw a lot of potential. Wow, this is a temple of Jagannath Ji. Jagannath deities from Puri, they came with all this arrangement to this place, and these people are ready to sell off this land and temple. Take it. So this disciple was able to buy this land. He was rich, and he was able to again establish the worship according to the Gaudiya tradition. So even if now you go in Chakda, in this place Chakda, near Navdeep, there is this temple where according to Gaudiya tradition, there is a Gaudiya Mutt there, where according to the tradition of Mahaprabhu, Jagannath temple is worshipped with great reverence, opulences. Rath Yatra happens, and this is the deities that have come, that have left Puri, and they were not given samadhi, and through Jagdish Pandit they came to this place to be worshipped by the devotees. So this was a beautiful relationship that the deities exchange with Jagdish Pandit. I'll become light for you. Carry me wherever you want. So, so in this way, Jagannath ji doesn't just come out during Rath Yatra. He comes out during other times also to exchange relationships with the devotees. But you have to be that in the mood of that pure devotional service, unalloyed devotion, where you are worried about the Lord, not worried about ourselves, but worried about the Lord and His services, His sevas. So this is another pastime. Who's enjoying these stories? Is
Yes.
anybody? Rana Prabhu, would you like to share something?
No, it was a story. See, I gone back to Puri. I have visited Puri temple twice, Jagannath ji. I was very opportunist to go there on official tour to Bhubaneswar. And then I visited Puri. So I'm going back to that area, back of my. I was traveling how Jagannath ji, how that throughout the day he is eating. So that all that I have seen there. So it just refreshed me that tour.
Yes,
Thank you so
Prabhuji. Yes, you're very, very blessed
much.
that you have visited Puri. We have never visited, and I'm just trying to invoke my own interest in visiting these places by reading or hearing about them. So may the Lord Jagannath also bestow his mercy upon us and call us so we can get his darshan. Um, okay, so if everybody's okay, shall we do one more?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's hear one more. Hema, Mataji, are you able to hear? Or you have any questions?
I'm listening, Mataji. Thank you so much. No questions. I'm just enjoying these beautiful stories.
Okay, so let's do one
Hare
more.
Krishna.
Let's do one more. This is a little bit of longer story. Let's see if everybody's able to follow. I can't make up my mind which one to tell. Okay. They are also beautiful. Okay, I'll tell the longer one because that has more twists and turns. So we'll do the long one. Okay. So this is the story that starts in 7th century and it will come to the present time. Okay, it will start from 7th century, so long time back, right? And at that time, there was a demon called Bahu. This demon used to destroy many big temples. You know, there are so many demonic people. Like one person that comes to mind is Aurangzeb, who destroyed so many temples in Vrindavan. Huh? Aurangzeb would look at Shri Govind Ji's temple, Govind Dev Ji's temple. गोविंद देव का टेम्पल जो है वो मेरे पैलेस से ऊंचा कैसे, इसके ऊपर के इतने वो तोड़ दो so that it becomes leveled with my fort or lower than my fort. How envious of the Lord, you know. So that's how Aurangzeb destroyed so many temples and so many deities. Similarly, there was a demon in 7th century. His name was Bahu, and he used to destroy temples. And he gave a threat that I will also destroy Jagannath Puri temple. Hmm? He gave a threat to all the devotees. Now, devotees, again, you know, very fearful about the Lord. They know that Lord is Lord of the world. He's Jagannath. If he wants to protect, he can protect them. He can protect the temple, himself, everything. He can protect the whole world. But still, the devotees have that mood. When deities are placed in our hands, they are placed in our hands so that we can take care of them, right? They are they're placing themselves in a vulnerable situation, vulnerable position, so we can take care of them. So in this way, devotees were in this mood that we have to take care of Jagannath ji, but we have no power against this demon Bahu. He's so strong. He can fly. He's powerful. He's big. So they went to pray to Jagannath ji, and he said, "Look, he's threatening to harm you, and we don't know how to help you. Please show us the path, how to help you." And Jagannath ji is enjoying all this. He's just enjoying all this. He said to the devotees, "Well, you are the devotee, you figure out how to help me." They said, "We have no clue. Please, Lord, help, guide us how to help you. We want to save you in your temple." So, you know, Lord sometimes likes to put us in spiritual anxiety. Let them be anxious about my sevas. Let them be anxious about my devotional service, right? this anxiety for the Lord actually purifies the jiva, right? This is what we were talking about. You see anxiety for Lord in every situation, right? This anxiety for the Lord purifies the jiva. Just say Yashoda Maya is anxious about Krishna. Oh, if he goes to feed these cows, अगर गाय चराने जाएगा तो इसके पैरों में छाले हो जाएंगे, इसके पैरों में पेबल्स लग जाएंगे. He should wear shoes. And Krishna is worrying about his devotees. He says, okay, if you're going to make me shoes, you should better make shoes for all the cows and the calves that I'm going to take. They don't have shoes, they need shoes also. If they're going barefoot, I'm also going barefoot. So then Yashoda Maya said, oh, okay, then you go away. I cannot make shoes for so many cows and calves. You go. So in this way, the devotee is worrying about the Lord and Lord is worrying about the devotees. So devotees were worrying about Jagannath ji. Please tell us how to protect you. So again, Jagannath ji said, don't worry, I will take care of everything. Okay. Why don't I let the pot boil a little more? Why don't I raise the anxiety of devotees a little bit more? Huh? Let them feel a little more anxiety and fear. Devotee said, no, Lord, we are already very fearful. Please just tell us how to protect you. The Lord said, okay, okay. I will tell you what to do. It's very simple. You just pick me and run away. So devotee said, have you seen yourself? It is not easy to pick you. Huh? Again, the same situation. We cannot pick you. You are too heavy. He said, don't worry. I will make myself light. You can pick me and you will be able to run away. And don't go through the main roads. Go through the forest. Rakbahu does not know those forests and he will not be able to follow you. Okay. And in this way, the Daitapatis, again the descendants, they are the close servants of Jagannath ji. Remember, Daitapatis are very, very low caste. They're even considered below Shudras. Imagine. And they are the descendants from Shabra dynasty, right? The same caste that Shabri belonged to. They are from Shabra dynasty. They are descendants of Vishwavasu. So these Daitapatis are very, very dear to Jagannath ji. And he told Daitapatis, you pick me up and run away. So few of them picked him up, all three deities, and ran away. And they went through the forest. They will walk all day, and in the night they will have some prasadam. They'll sleep, and in this way they kept going, walking 12 days and 12 nights. And they came to a very beautiful place, a very beautiful place. And can anybody guess the name of this place where they might have come to? Since we are relating, I'll give you a hint. We are relating Jagannath ji and Gauranga. So where might they have come to? A beautiful, spiritually potent place. So they came to Navdweep, right? Navdweep. Does anyone know why Navdweep is called Navdweep? Let's see. We always say Navdweep. In the land of Nadia, land of Navdweep, there is an island called Godruma. Why is it called Navdweep? Who can answer? Nirbhay Prabhu can answer.
There must be 9 islands together.
Yes.
Navdweep.
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. 100%, yes. Navdweep means 9 islands. So Navdweep means there are 9 islands. Sorry, can you hear me? Okay. Navdweep means 9 islands, right? So there are many, many islands. It is like let me see, I had a picture somewhere. It is like a lotus flower with 8 petals and one center. The 8 petals are 8 islands, and the one center is the Antardweep, which is where the Mayapur temple is. So current Mayapur Chandrodaya temple is in this Antardweep, or in the center of this lotus flower. So it's like a lotus flower. That is the 9 islands of. I'm going to show you a picture. So it's something like this. This is the 9 islands of Navdweep. So you see in the center there is Antardweep. This is Mayapur basically. This is where the Mayapur Chandrodaya temple is. And then on the sides there are 8 other islands. So there is Ritu, Janu Dweep, Ritu Dweep, Madhya Dweep, Godruma Dweep, Simant Dweep, Rudra Dweep, Moda Druma Dweep. These are all the dweeps. Now if you will see some words written underneath. Like here it is said Atma Nivedan, Smaranam, Vandanam, Archanam, Kirtanam, Shravanam. What are those? What does those words mean?
That is भक्ति के न्यू प्रकार
Yes, 9 limbs.
नवविधा
Yes, Prabhuji, Navvida Bhakti. Navda Bhakti ke 9 limbs of devotional service, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivednam. Atmanivednam is the last one, the full complete surrender, which is in the center. So each island represents one limb of devotional service. Also, each island also represents one stage of devotional service. Like remember, there's 9 stages. There is Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anarth Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, and Bhav and Prem. Those 9 stages of bhakti are also each represented by a different island. So each island represents one limb of bhakti. So, anyways, they came to Daitapatis, brought the deities to this place, and this place is Navdvip. And they came to which part of Navdvip? Simant Dweep. Simant Dweep is where they put these deities down, and that's where. And Lord told them, "This is far enough. This is the Raktbau demon can never find me here. This is far enough from Jagannath Puri, and you can just put me here and worship me here." So the Daitapati started worshipping him there, right? So in this way, the worship went on in Simant Dweep like this. But and then Simant, just to talk about Simant Dweep, this Simant means this partition of the hair, this partition of the hair. Those of you don't know, Mother Parvati is also called Simantini Devi. The name Simantini Devi comes because in Mahaprabhu's Leela, Mahaprabhu and Mother Parvati exchanged a beautiful relationship where Mother Parvati wanted to surrender to Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu took the dust of his feet and put it in the partition of Mother Parvati, and she got this name Simantini Devi. So Mahaprabhu accepted Mother Parvati, and this is Simant Dweep. This Simant Dweep is where these deities were placed, and they were worshipped for many generations. But again, eventually, the worship declined. It was not going according to the proper standards. Services declined. The mood of devotees changed and became slackened. And ultimately, when that happens, when our service declines, service slackens, the Lord disappears, right? Lord disappears from our life, from our heart. So in this way, the deities basically disappeared. The temple got covered by the dust, and the temple got buried under a lot of dust and disappeared. Now, in this way, 900 years passed. Okay, so remember, we started from 7th century, and 900 years passed, meaning we now come to 16th century. 16th century is about 600 years from now, right? This is 2022. So this is 16th century. In 16th century, so these deities have disappeared. Temple has disappeared. Now there was another devotee called Jagdish Gangopadhyay. Okay, this is not the same Jagdish that we talked about before. This is a different Jagdish, Jagdish Gangopadhyay. He also was very attached to Jagannath Ji and would go to Rath Yatra every year to Jagannath Puri. And eventually, when he became old, he could not go to Puri. He would ask devotees to take him, but his health was very poor. He eventually got even blind. After old age, he became blind also. So one day Jagannath Ji told him that, I will appear for you here. I'm actually already here in Navdvip. My devotees had brought me here, but I had disappeared. So if you want, I can re-manifest. But you have to do something according to my instructions. And the instructions were that tomorrow, when you go to take bath in Ganga, a log of wood will come to find you. Okay? एक लकड़ी आएगी बड़ी सी. Give that log of wood to a sculptor. But here is the condition. The sculptor should have leprosy. That sculptor who has leprosy in your town needs to carve the deities from this log of wood, and you establish them, and your health will be restored, his leprosy will finish, and you will have the proper relationship like we used to have before. So Jagdish Gangopadhyay, next day, he went to take bath in the Ganga, and as he had been told, a log of wood appeared in Ganga. He was, bobbing about in the waves, and he took that log and went to find a sculptor in the town who has, like a shilpkar, who has leprosy. Now, leprosy is a very, very bad disease to have, right? In that disease, I don't even know if kids are familiar at all. But your body parts get so degenerated and degraded, they even melt. They almost rot away, right? And the nose can fall off, the tips of fingers fall off. It's a very, very bad disease to have. And people used to be shunned out of their home when they had this disease because it is contagious. And there will be leper colonies in which those people would be kept. So he went to hunt for such a person who's a sculptor and had leprosy. And he found one. But he was not doing any sculpting anymore. He said, I cannot hold any tools. I don't have proper hand to hold the tools. It is very hard. Forget about carving anything. I cannot even hold any instrument. So, Jagdish Gangopadhyay told him that Jagannath ji has instructed me that if somebody makes this deity, your leprosy will also be cured. So please try. So the leper, that sculptor, the leper, he started working on it. Very, very difficult. Took a long time. The instrument will keep falling off from his hand. It was painful for him. It was a very slow going. Very slowly he's chafing away at the wood, and very slowly this work went on. And Jagannath ji deities, he was able to carve finally. Then Jagannath ji said, I need my Subhadra and Baldev. You cannot just have Jagannath. See how Lord is testing. How Lord is testing so hard. It is so painful, right? Nobody else can do this unless you're a devotee of the Lord. Unless you're a pure devotee of the Lord, you cannot do this. You need a lot of nishtha, faith to do this. So he said, make now Baldev and Subhadra for me, right? You've heard in Jagannath Ashtakam, right? He says, Vasan prasadanta sahaj balbhadrena balina Subhadra madhyastha sakala surseva vasardo Jagannath Swami Nayan Pathagami Bhavatu me. So he said, I need my Subhadra in the Madhyastha. I need my Balbhadra, Balbhadrena Balina, that powerful Balbhadra I need, and I need Subhadra. So they made those devotees also, those deities also. Took a long time, but the leper sculptor finally made them. And once he was done, as per the promise, his leprosy went away completely. And even the Jagdish Gangopadhyay retained his, proper health, blindness went away. So he was freed of all those problems. And then he started the worship of these deities, and the worship continued for many generations. Many generations the worship continued under the guidance of Jagdish Gangopadhyay's disciples and other family members. So one of the things you will see, there is one thing to see in every story, that if we are not serving the Lord properly, if we are not very faithful in our service, how the Lord will disappear, right? In the first story, we saw how the Lord, Daitapatis established him in Navdweep, in Simant Dweep, but then the service disappeared and Lord just got buried under the mud. And now these deities are remanifested in Navdweep, but again the same thing happened, that over the time the service slackened, which is what happens. We are very everything is very temporary in this material world, right? And the time degrades things. We are under the control of time. Time degrades things. Our health degrades. Similarly, our nishtha, our faith dwindles. And so it is very hard to stick to one's service. And so again, same thing happened. Some seva aparadh happened, actually. Inappropriate behavior happened. And this was an offense to Jagannath ji, and the temple again mysteriously disappeared. It was only one devotee who committed the aparadh towards the service of Lord Jagannath ji, and the temple disappeared again. This is the same place. Jagannath ji has come from Puri. He got established, then he disappeared, then he appeared again, and then he disappeared again. So second time he has disappeared. Now here the third time, and this brings to our current time and what happened to those deities now. Okay. So this is the last leg of this story. So in 1960s, okay, this is in the time of Prabhupada, there was a devotee. He's not linked to Prabhupada. He was not part of ISKCON, but he was one of the Gaudiya devotees, I think. His name was Gemini Ghosh. this devotee was going through this area, this place where the temple was buried under a lot of dust and ant hills had grown over it, bahut sari ants and all. And he was crossing this place in Navadvip. When he was crossing, he suddenly a tree fell in front of him. And he looked around. There was no wind, nothing. How come this tree just suddenly fell? And suddenly he heard a loud voice, as if somebody's crying. And the voice was saying, I am hungry. Somebody please take me out. I'm so thirsty. Give me something to eat. Give me something to drink. Please get me out of here. Somebody screaming. So he called the villagers around. They said, we have heard this voice before also. We think it's a ghost. But Gemini Ghosh said, I don't think it's a ghost. Please help me look. So upon his request, they all went to look where this big ant hill and all the dust and like a big ऐसे बालू बन जाता है ना ऐसे hill बन गई थी of all the dirt. They started scraping through it. As they scraped through it, these three deities that sculptors had made, the leper had made, the three deities emerged. Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and all well preserved. Even though remember they are wooden deities, right? Daru Brahm, log ki bani hai, wooden log ki. These deities could have been destroyed by the ants. Ants can easily burrow holes in the wood. But these deities were well preserved, so beautiful. Their makeup, everything was there. The coloring, everything was there on them. And these deities were recovered from this big hill. And Gemini Ghosh, he said, oh, this is, and there was all these legends from before that knew there was a temple buried there. So everybody realized these are the deities that have actually come from Jagannath Puri from 7th century and then 16th century and now here. And in this way, these deities were being taken care of Gemini Ghosh. Now, he knew, intelligent people learn from history, right? They learn from other people's mistakes. Gemini Ghosh knew that if those Daitapatis could not carry out the worship of Jagannath Ji and over the generations it declined. If Jagdish Gangopadhyay's descendants could not carry on the worship and the worship declined and the temple disappeared, Seva Aparadh happened, so many offenses happened, then what is my qualification? What if I'm not able to worship these deities properly? So I should not think that I can worship these deities. They've already appeared and disappeared 2-3 times. And they have come from Puri itself. So we have to do something strong, better, which will be more permanent. So then he called, after 20 years, 1978, he called ISKCON Mayapur. He called ISKCON Mayapur. And he talked to the devotees there. He said, ISKCON devotees are very famous for their strict deity worship, their punctuality. Deity worship, Prabhupada said, 2 things are very, very important. For us, 2 things are very, very important. Please, everybody hear very, very carefully. 2 things. 1 is punctuality and 2 is cleanliness. You don't keep deities waiting for Aarti and all. Punctuality and cleanliness. 2 things are very important. ISKCON devotees are very strict with their deity worship. We have no doubt that they will be able to take care of these Jagannath Ji deities. And we have a very bad history of Jagannath Ji appearing and disappearing in this part of Navadvip for centuries due to the lack of proper seva and due to multiple offenses. So we know that ISKCON devotees guard against the offenses very, very strictly, and they're very strict with their Vigraha seva. So we want to give these deities to ISKCON Mayapur. Please worship them, please take care of them, and devotees will be very delighted to know that these are the Mayapur deities of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra. These are called, so remember that Mayapur is in the Antardvip, in the center. These deities are towards a little farther away, so these are called Rajpura deities. And I will give you the darshan of Rajpura deities of Mayapur. So these are still to this day very, very strictly worshipped, very, very nicely worshipped by the priests of ISKCON Mayapur. With the proper standard, proper care. And these are very, very famous deities of Rajpura. So let me find some picture I can show you. Yes. I'll share it because I can't find them. There are so many deities. I want to make sure that I send you the. Yes, okay, this is it. Rajpura Jagannath deities. These are the, see, even this post is saying don't ignore Lord Jagannath's prasadam. This is the deities of Rajpura. This is the Rajpura Jagannath temple deities in Mayapur. So they are worshipped by ISKCON Mayapur. So these are the deities that were made by that leper um, sculptor. So very, very nicely they are worshipped. Snan Yatra, Rath Yatra, everything happens there. I have better pictures of them somewhere else. I'll find them. Yeah, this is Jagannath. See this one? So these deities are in Simantadweep. So you see Rajpur is Simantadweep. We talked about Simantadweep, right? Simant is this partition. And this is this name was given because of the pastime of Mahaprabhu and Mother Parvati that happened there. So Simant Dweep is the one of the walls, one of the petals of the 8 petals, and in center is the Antar Dweep where there is Mayapur temple. So this is the story of the Jagannath of Rajpur. Okay. Did everybody like the story? Has anybody seen these deities of Rajpura? Has anybody been to ISKCON Mayapur and seen these deities?
No.
I think I have to ask kids some questions then. See if they were listening. It was a very long, winding story, so I don't expect to remember the details. But the basic import for everybody to remember is that we should do our seva of the Lord with proper mood, consciousness, humility, right? Do our seva services properly in the mood of the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. And Jagannath Ji is very merciful and he reciprocates with his pure devotees, right, as you can see. And these reciprocations are still happening. It's not like this is many years back or anything. These reciprocations are still happening even over the last few years. There actually, I have a story of Prabhupada's disciple. I don't know if we have time, but I had a story of Prabhupada's disciple who served Lord Jagannath for about 20 years in New Vrindavan. And how I'll just share very short part. The story is very, very, very interesting. This Mataji story, she's Prabhupada's disciple. She was American born. She was born in Detroit, I believe. Yes, she was born in Detroit. Her name was Linda. And she was given the name Alhadini. And she came to Krishna consciousness at 19 years of age. And at that, initially when she came to Krishna consciousness, her boyfriend was more interested in spirituality than she was. But once she got darshan of Prabhupada, she was completely sold on this path and served him, took diksha from him, and was called Aladini Mataji. And she used to do very, very, she was taught deity worship actually. She was taught deity worship by other senior disciples of Prabhupada that in the temple in Detroit, in Cleveland. Then she went and did some course in California also. And finally, she settled in New Vrindavan. And I know some of you have been to New Vrindavan. So I know Hema Mataji has been. We have been. Trying to remember. Sheetal Mataji, Ravi Prabhu, have you been to New Vrindavan?
Yes, Mataji, we've been there, but yeah, way back whether he was not even a year old.
Okay, yes. So New Vrindavan,
Yes.
right? So this was a very, very dear to Prabhupada, and he had given to his disciples to this project of New Vrindavan. In New Vrindavan, there is the main temple. Hema Mataji is probably the recent one who's gone there, most recently. The main temple where there is the Radha Vrindavan Chandra deities, right? And then there is a separate area called Bahulavan. In those days, this whole place was so deserted. The living there was so austere. Like you've gone to D-land, right? D-land is not, there is no austerity compared to how it was in New Vrindavan at that time, right? In the time of Prabhupada. So much austere place. There was no running water there. You had to, they had dug a well to get water. Every day you had to travel so far to just get drinking water, and then what to say of water for washing, for cooking and whatnot. This Mataji lived alone. Even though she was married, her husband would live in the main temple of Radha Vrindavan Chandra, and she lived in Bahulavan, where Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra deities were in a separate temple. Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra temple was in Bahulavan. She was the only one living there alone. Mataji lived there alone, and she's a very young lady. Okay, very young lady. She's only in her early 20s. She lived there, serving the deities, giving them the same treatment that they get in Jagannath Puri, cooking them bhoga after bhoga after bhoga the whole day. She had just two saris to wear throughout her life. 20 years she lived there, 20 years she had only two saris. The saris turned brown by the end, and people would think this is the color of the saris. Okay, she would go and get the groceries and all the stock and supplies from the main temple for the whole week, and then come back and cook for the whole week with those supplies. She would get water there. It's so difficult to go to bathroom there. There was no bathroom, and it was so cold, so chilly. You had to somehow take a shower or bath or something and do your deity worship. And you have to take bath multiple times if you're doing proper deity worship, right? So very, very austerely, she lived there alone. Okay. She was so occupied in her services that she could, we are told to chant more. 16 is just the basic minimum. We should do much more. She could only do 16 rounds because she was so occupied by her services. And so how she would chant, please nobody do this at home. This is only her. She can do it. We cannot do it. This is how she would chant. Extra chanting I'm talking about. She would take a mala, hang it on a hook, and as she's kneading the dough, she's not looking at the dough, she's looking at the mala, and with her eyes, she's following the beads. She's saying Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, like that. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Next bead. She's just looking. The mala is hanging on a hook in front of her. Like that, she's doing all her services. She's cleaning the temple. Like that, she will do extra chanting because that she had no time to spare for even extra chanting. She was so busy. So in this way, she carried on services for like 17, 18 years. Now, at that time, there was some leadership in New Vrindavan. Those of you, I don't know if you're familiar with, which you don't have to get into this, but New Vrindavan went through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of phases, especially after Prabhupada left this planet, a lot of things happened. But just for the sake of this pastime, let's understand that the leadership was a little bit corrupted. The leader of the temple, main Radha Vrindavan Chandra temple, got envious of Mataji. Why? Because she was so simple, so austere. People used to adore her. People would come and take lessons from her in deity worship, in cooking, in so many things. And she used to hear one tape. She had only 2 or 3 tapes of Prabhupada that she kept hearing for 20 years. She could verbatim recite the whole lecture of Prabhupada as Prabhupada has given it. Even Prabhupada won't know what he has said. She knew it. She knew every word. Iske baad kya word bolenge wo? She knew because she had learned the whole tape by heart. In this way, she would serve Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, constantly hearing, chanting, in a very, very simple mood. The Trinadapi Suniche Namo. And this particular leader got envious of her. That why is she getting so much respect? Why is she getting all the glories? And she's not getting anything. Like she has nothing. She's just there. Somebody will come there, may glorify her, but just so attracted to her simplicity. But people get envious at certain things which are beyond our imagination sometimes. So he came to inspect. He thought, I'm going to throw her out of the temple. Imagine she has served there for like 17, 18 years in this austere conditions. I'm going to have her thrown out of the temple. I'm going to take Jagannath Ji's service from her. Imagine this service is so dear to her. Who is he to take somebody's service out of them, right? This is a ghor aparadh he was going to commit. Take her service away. So what did he do? He visited the temple with some other people, and he said, and he started finding faults. This is how she serves. She serves such simple prasadam to Jagannath Ji. Jagannath Ji should get chappan bhog. Jagannath Ji, she puts him in a dhoti. He should get the opulent silk cloths. She just puts a flower garland on him. He should get the necklaces of pearls and jewels and whatnot. He should be opulently worshipped. But she's worshipping him too simple. This is not right. Jagannath Ji should be worshipped opulently, not simply like her. In this way, he wanted to basically cut her out of the service. she should get, we should just give her something in the main temple to do, take her out of the Bahula one. Like this he was proposing. Hmm? And the plans were made already that somebody else will come, some other priest will come to take over the service of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and she will be given something else to do in the main temple. And Mataji was distraught. Remember, this is her whole life. She has given her whole life to Jagannathji. This is all she's so attached to Jagannathji. You know, when we say about attachment or detachment, we should not be attached to our material things and material situations and conditions. We should be attached to the Lord. She was not attached to anything material. She was attached to the Lord. This is a detachment from the world and attachment to the Lord. And she was doing her service without any offense, with pure simplicity, punctuality, cleanliness, everything that Prabhupada had taught her, right? And this envious leader was trying to take it away from her. So Mataji started writing in her diary, in her journal. Okay, this is documented still. It is, she wrote in her diary, and she wrote, and she chastised Jagannathji. Jagannathji, you're not happy with me. I know you want more opulent service, right? That's why you want me to be taken away so that you can get more opulent worship. You don't like the simple food that I cook for you. You want more opulent chappan bhog to be cooked for you. That is why you're kicking me out, huh? You're not happy with how I love you. You want somebody to love you with like jewels and pearls and all this. So Jagannath, I know this is not your heart. So why are you doing this, Jagannath? So she, very, very nice way, she started saying this to Jagannath ji. Oh Jagannath ji, why are you doing this? Huh? So when Jagannath ji, in this way, she poured her heart out to Jagannath ji. That is why it is said, when we are in difficulty, when we are in a difficult situation like this, instead of lashing out, we should pour our heart out to the Lord. That Lord, this is how I am trying to serve you. You know what do you want me to do for you? This is what she asked, Lord. And guess what happened? In a few days, this is what happened. This is what happens to the offenders. So what happened was, this particular leader, this envious leader who was trying to take the service of Aladini Mataji, this leader had an illicit relationship with wife of another devotee. Can you believe it? Wife of another devotee, and he ran away with her. He ran away with her. So the whole the whole propaganda that he had against Aladini Mataji completely crumpled. Because look at her purity, look at her simplicity, her austerity, her seva bhav, her mood to please the Lord and devotees. And look at what he did, right? So he was completely fallen. He fell down, because this is what happens, right? When there is so much envy and such big ugra offense against the devotees, this is what happened. He fell down completely. He left the temple, left Krishna consciousness and left. And Mataji did not have to leave the temple. Jagannathji stayed in her service. Simple food, simple clothes, simple garlands. And this was the way of Jagannathji telling Aladini Mataji that nobody can take my service away from you. This was Lord's arrangement, that I'm going to stay in your service. So such a nice way that Lord arranges, makes these arrangements to exchange relationships with his devotees. Unimaginable. This is not too long ago. This is not, we're not talking about Satyug, Dwapar Yug, Treta Yug. We are talking about a few 20 years back or so. And then what happened with Mataji later on is a whole different story, but this is her exchanges with Jagannathji in New Vrindavan. So I think we can conclude for today. I hope everybody liked the stories. We shared 4 stories of Jagannathji and their pastimes with the 4 different, actually more than 4 devotees. The first story was with the Landini Mataji, right, who used to make neem paste for Jagannathji and who was not allowed entry into the temple. The second story was of the Jagdish Pandit, who was who did not want Lord to get samadhi during Navkalevram and wanted to take them to Navdvip. And so how Lord let him take them to Chagda and he established them there. The third story was of the Jagdish Gangopadhyay, right, who found these deities in, who found this log of wood in the Ganga and had the leper sculptor make these deities in Simantadweep and establish them. And when the service declined and the temple disappeared, Gemini Ghosh found the same deities and gave them to the ISKCON Mayapur temple, right? So many devotees exchanging their relationship. And finally, the story of Aladini Mataji, our own beloved Prabhupada's disciple, who served Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra in the temple of New Vrindavan in USA. So this is not even India, this is USA, in US, and how Lord showed her that, he is partial to the devotees, right? He's favorable to the devotees, partial to the devotees, and accepts only their service, not the service of the envious people. So this is, I think we can stop here. Jagannath Ji's pastimes are many, many. Hari Anant, Hari Katha Anant, right? In this way, Jagannath Ji is also Anant. From time immemorial, he has exchanged so many pastimes. I will share some more on the group. Please, if anybody else wants to share any stories, pastimes, any questions, doubts, please share.
Natasha Mataji, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Okay. I just wanted to share that when we went to New Vrindavan, the deities are in the main temple, Jagannath deities. I don't know if they were separate before, but now they're in the main temple only. And I don't. Is this Mataji still living, or I maybe I don't know if I
Yes.
her or not.
Yes, Mataji. No, so okay. You brought up a very, very nice point, and I cannot stop myself from sharing this. So if devotees will bear with me for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, I want to share what happened to Mataji in the end. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, so because you would like it. Yes, Mataji, the deities are now in the main temple. It was very, very difficult to take care of the deities. Nobody else could do it like Aladini Mataji did. So Mataji, eventually there was a lot of the leadership after Prabhupada left became a little corrupted, and they started deviating from the standards that Prabhupada had established. So Mataji did not feel good there. She wanted to visit Vrindavan Dham, and she wanted to do other services. So she came in contact with two very big Guru Varga of ours. One is Radhanath Maharaj, and another is Bhakti Tirth Maharaj. Mataji, Bhakti Tirth Maharaj is a jewel among our Guru Vargas that he has left his body. He was African American body, he was black body. He's fondly called as Black Lotus. So Mataji, he also left his body now, so you're probably not familiar with him, but we will share his lectures and all. So Bhakti Tirth Maharaj and Radhanath Maharaj guided her, and eventually she moved to Africa. In Africa, Mataji, she used to live in a country called Liberia. In this country called Liberia, there was a city called Monrovia where she lived. And she did a lot of preaching. Mataji was very young. She did a lot of preaching. She was very famous there. She was very simple, still very austere, hardly had, she did not seek anything for herself. She just wanted to contribute to the Prabhupada's mission. So by her simplicity, by her purity, she became very popular. Even the TV channels would interview her. She was very attractive. People would get attracted to her teachings, her preachings very, very nicely. So at that time, a civil war broke out in Monrovia. In this war, civil war basically means when the military basically wanted to overthrow the main government, right? So this war was headed by a person called Prince Johnson. This was a very, very evil, you can compare him to Hiranyakashipu, but not as powerful as Hiranyakashipu, but a demon. This demonic person was killing everybody, and he wanted to overthrow the government and come to power. One day, he came to the temple where Aladini Mataji was. And Aladini Mataji influenced him so much that he even took a Bhagavad Gita from her. He saw that these people are very simple, they're very God-loving and God-fearing. Not that he was God-loving or God-fearing, but he thought that these people are not a threat. And they just said, we just want to distribute prashadam to the people that are suffering nowadays. So please let us just distribute prashadam. So he allowed them to distribute prashadam. He was very influenced, very attracted by Aladini Mataji, her personality. So he let them serve prashadam and let them serve the victims of that time. People were dying. He was so demoniac that he would even kill his own people very quickly. Without whoever was against him, he would kill them. This is in Monrovia. When finally the government was overthrown and he came to power, this Prince Johnson. Mataji, you can read about this. There are newspaper clippings of this available on Google. FBI has a probe into why Prince Johnson was killing so much. You can see all of this. It's everywhere. So one day, when he came to power, one day a devotee from this temple did something very, very foolish. Very, very foolish. What did he do? He wrote a letter to Prince Johnson telling him that as per the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, he will go to hell. He's a demon and he has killed so many innocent people that he will have to reap which is all true, right? He's sinful, so he will have to reap his karma and he will take birth in lower species, lower planets, like that. So very, very, but writing to a person like this, if you're calling for, you are calling for trouble. This is not the correct preaching. If you want to teach someone, preach someone, you have to change their heart, right? If you cannot change their heart just by saying all these things, you're calling for trouble. And we are not pure devotees of the Lord. If we go around blaspheming people, we will get into trouble, right? If I just catch hold of a policeman or some authority and say, something to them, they will just catch me and put me in jail, right? Anyway, so Prince Johnson became very angry. He came in truck full of his soldiers with guns to the temple. And in that temple used to live 7 brahmacharis and 2 matajis, one Aladini Mataji and one other Mataji who was under the care of Aladini Mataji. So when this person came, they were so, angry that they pulled out everybody from the temple and loaded them in their jeep and took them far away from temple. His point was that you think I will go to hell, I will not let you die in the temple, so you will not even have you won't have a good destination either. Because अगर कोई temple में अपनी body छोड़ेगा, तो good destination मिलेगी. I'll take you away from the temple to kill you. And he raised all the soldiers raised their guns to kill the devotees. And seeing this, Aladini Mataji, and he said the 2 ladies can leave. Ladies can leave. I will just kill the men. But Aladini Mataji, seeing this, she threw herself on top of Prince Johnson and pulled the gun out of his hand. And she said, "How dare you kill the devotees of Krishna?" But she's very small, very fragile. He took the gun from her and she was the first one to be shot. So in this way, her and all the devotees were killed. And so you can see, Mataji, this is but you may think that, okay, somebody's killed out of the temple, they won't go to Godhead. But remember that even if you're killed out of the temple, this is pure devotee of the Lord. Their destination is already decided. They are with Krishna. They are holding Krishna in their heart. Wherever they leave their body, in whatever condition, they will always go to Krishna. So Mataji, this was the story of Aladini Mataji. So she's not there. So you did not meet her, but she is still there in spirit and she's remembered very, very fondly. So there are stories about her, there are pastimes, her pastimes, her stay of 20 years in New Vrindavan is shared, what all she taught, her TV interviews, everything is there. We can share some of those things. But she is the lesser known. She is not talked about as much because it was a crown jewel that we lost.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing.
Okay, so these were the exchanges, but Jagannath probably called her back to her dham or Golok dham, and she's serving in the same mood of Ahetuki Pratihata devotional service. Okay, devotees, thank you for listening. Anybody else wants to share? Thank you, Mataji, for sharing. I'm sure you got the latest darshan of the deities there. We have not been there in a few years. Okay, Hare Krishna, Nilveni Mataji. Thank you for joining us. We are just discussing Jagannathji's pastimes. Please, if you have anything to share, or Sheetal Mataji, Nana Prabhu, Ravi Prabhu, and kids, and Nirbhay Prabhu, anybody wants to share anything? Please go ahead. Any story that inspired you?
Yeah, this is all today's teaching is only the Ananya Bhakti. अनन्य भक्ति में असाधारण जो भी मिलता है वो बहुत कुछ मिल जाता है। अनन्य भक्ति होनी चाहिए भगवान के प्रति।
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. That's very right. It is very difficult to achieve because we are so attached to our body that we cannot take our mind off the body and bodily concepts to focus on the Lord only. Yes, Nirbhay Prabhu, please share.
Hare Krishna, thank you for sharing such nice pastimes of Lord in contemporary age, so that we can get inspired and we may not be able to get to those levels because those are wonderful bhaktas, but they are just still very inspiring, so that we can at least try to be somewhere close by or get inspired to do the best possible way that we can do right now in our time, place, circumstance. And, service of the Lord is also very important. Just like we were, talking about Radhini Mataji, she's at very high level and serving with a perfect mood. But we are trying to copy that mood or learn from that mood. And wonderful devotees here are all, they are all creating a chariot for Lord Jagannath Rath Yatra for next week. So 3 times Hari Bol for all devotees here making chariot.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol,
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Very inspiring, and thank you Lalita Mataji and Nirbhay Prabhu for leading them and helping them. This is a great service.
Thank you, Mother.
I'll
Yes,
show you.
very nice, very nice. Thank you, Mataji, for sharing all those stories. Very inspiring and very nice. And yes, Nirbhay Prabhu and Lalita Mataji is doing another good service for our next week program. So thank you so much.
This is I'll share the picture of Aladini Mataji. This is that Prince Johnson. This is Aladini Mataji. So, see, this is Aladini Mataji. You can read the full article, but this is her as a child when she was born as Linda. Linda Jury was her name, and this is her with the Jagannath deities.
Then also, no program of Krishna is without Prashadam. So,
Yes.
to Sheetal Mataji and Ravi Prabhu for arranging for Prashadam today. Praise
Yes.
Sheetal Mataji and Ravi. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Especially Jagannath Ji's program is not complete without Prashadam. So thank you, Mataji, Prabhuji. We were in no position to make Prashadam, so thank you for arranging it. Hari Bol.
Oh, we are always, Mataji, always blessed to be in the association.
Mataji, I'll be taking your leave because I'm going to the temple. But thank you so much for sharing. I'm looking forward to the yatra. And Hare Krishna. All
Hare
the best for the
Krishna.
preparation.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother.